Hey there, thank you so much for joining me. So in today's video, we are going to compare the cost of living in Tampa versus Jacksonville. But before we do that, just so we're clear, when I say Tampa, what I mean is all of Hillsborough County. So that is the county that Tampa is in. And when I say Jacksonville, I'm actually going to talk about one county south of that, which is St. Johns County. Now, why would I do that? Lots of people, like for instance, my family, live in St. Johns County, work in Jacksonville. Now, I'm a real estate agent. Obviously, I work all over, but my wife works at a law firm in Jacksonville, even though we live in St. Johns County. And that's actually very common. Again, St. Johns County is what we call a bedroom community, meaning a lot of people live here, but then go work in Jacksonville. Now, obviously, some of that has changed with working remotely and such like that. But in this video, we are going to compare the Jacksonville area to Tampa area, and we're going to look at the cost of housing. We're going to talk about the cost of living, and we're going to talk about some key differences. And if you hang out to the end, I will explain to you why I don't necessarily think all these metrics, and I'm going to provide them to you, but I don't necessarily know if that's what's going to make the difference between whether you live in St. Johns County or that area or versus Tampa, and I'll tell you why. So without further ado, let's jump on in. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to tell you about is the housing market comparison, and we're going to look at the median home price. So the most recent median home price that I can find in Hillsborough County was $390,000. Now in St. Johns County, that same median house price was $500,000. So you would think, just from that alone, that St. Johns County is way more expensive than Hillsborough County, but I don't actually think that's true, and here's why. And I'll go into this more at the end of the video, but Tampa is definitely more of an urban kind of tropical vibe, kind of. So you have way more condos, townhouses. Do we have condos and townhouses in St. Johns County? Yes, but not as high a percentage as what they have over in Hillsborough County. So you're really comparing a lot more smaller housing unit types to single family homes. So I think that might explain some of the disparity between the two. Next up is cost of living. So when you look at the national cost of living, and that's going to be it's called 100%. Well, Tampa comes in just over 104%. So that means it is technically 4.2% above the average in the US for cost of living. It's actually not bad when you think about it, because that compares places like, Kansas and Idaho. Well, Idaho's probably not inexpensive anymore, but Kansas, the Midwest, places like that, where the housing and everything else costs way less than it does in other parts of the country. So Tampa is only 4.2% above the average cost of living here in the US. Whereas St. Johns County, on the other hand, is actually 10.9% above. So it is, based on these numbers, a little bit more expensive to live in St. Johns County, Florida, than it is in Hillsborough County. Next up, let's talk about property taxes. So if the average, now we're gonna look at a $300,000 house. Now you can do a video on property taxes in and of itself. For instance, some people don't pay property taxes at all. I mean, 100% service-connected disabled veterans, definitely. Then you have something called portability. Then you have all kinds of other things that factor into it. And that could be a video in and of itself that we're not gonna do. So we're gonna ignore all of that stuff. And I'm gonna assume that you are going to pay property taxes. So let's pretend for a minute, just to keep the numbers even, that you're looking at a $300,000, a home that's been valued at $300,000 in Hillsborough County versus St. Johns County. The house that was valued for $300,000 in Hillsborough County, you should pay on average $4,846 a year in property taxes, where that same home in unincorporated St. Johns County would run you $4,116. So there's a little bit of a difference, just a little bit over $700 difference for the same value home between the two areas. Next up, according to the US Census Bureau, what is the median income for Hillsborough County versus St. Johns County? The average household, meaning for all the working adults in the household contributing in, the average household income in Hillsborough County was $70,612, whereas in that same time period, the average median household income in St. Johns County was $100,020. $100,020. It's kind of hard to say. But anyway, so apparently households in St. Johns County do make a little bit more, on average about $30,000 more per year than households in Hillsborough County. All right, so we've gone through a few metrics and they're kind of neck and neck. In my opinion, there's not too big of a difference. But now let's talk about things that are probably make a difference for you whether you're deciding you want to move to Florida, do you want to move to Tampa, or do you want to move to the Jacksonville and specifically St. Johns County area. Number one, that's going to be lifestyle. Even though the two places are geographically close to each other in relation to the United States, and they're in the same state, they have wildly different cultures and, in my opinion, wildly different lifestyles. Now, I have lived in Florida my entire life. I am a native Floridian. Other than a stint in the Marines and going to college in Charleston, South Carolina, I have always called Florida my home. And I have been all over the state of Florida. I've lived in the southeast corner, and I've lived up here in the northeast part in St. Johns County for around 10 years. But I have been all over. I've been all over the Panhandle. I've been all over the Gulf Coast. I've been to the Keys. I've been to Naples. I've been everywhere in the state at one time or another, just like you have probably done in your home state, and you could probably speak intelligently to the different parts. And what I can tell you is that St. Johns County is much more of a kind of a laid-back, suburban type atmosphere. What do I mean by that? Well, the things that my family and I enjoy doing, for instance, one of my biggest hobbies is going out on the weekend and looking for shark's teeth. Now, you can do that on the Gulf Coast too, but here's the difference. I can actually drive out on the beach. I can go to the Guana Marine Preserve. I can go a lot of places where you're not gonna see a lot of people depending on when you go and where you go. It's a little bit more laid back. There's no bars there. There's no trendy places to go. Whereas if I go to the beaches over near Tampa, you know, there's more nightclubs, there's more nightlife, there's trendy restaurants, there's all kinds of things going on, which is great. I've enjoyed both places. But now at my current place in life, you know, being in my late 40s, being married, raising small children, this is definitely more my tempo, but I can completely understand if you wanted, you know, the trendy nightlife scene or you wanted those kinds of things, then Tampa may be a better place to look at. Both of them have highly rated schools, so that really shouldn't be an issue in and of itself. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is gonna come down to lifestyle. So what I would recommend doing is, thank you very much for watching this video. Keep watching these videos, keep watching videos about the Tampa life, and then come down and check both of them out. You know, when I'm working with out-of-town buyers, which by the way, my name is Andrew Michael. I am the team leader for the Coastal Haven Group and a real estate agent. I've helped buyers and sellers in my market for over 10 years in St. Johns County. And of course, we cover Jacksonville and Nassau County and all the area. But this area over here is definitely more laid back. So what I think you should do though is, you know, watch videos on both, kind of figure out if there's a clear winner for how you best live your life. Then next up is you and your family come down. And when we're working with out-of-town buyers, what I like to do is I'll like to work with them for about half a day, show them homes, get them into gated communities if that's what they want to see. You know, they can pick my brain, I can show them stuff, kind of give them ideas for what they can expect. But then the other part of the day, what I like to do is have them just driving around. You know, go check out the historic district of St. Augustine. Go to some of the restaurants, go to some of the fun places. If you have a four-wheel drive, take your four-wheel drive out on the Porpoise Point and drive out on the Volano Beach, or maybe go check out Amelia Island, which is up in Nassau County on the beach. There's all kinds of fun things to do. But check out the lifestyle in both places and try to figure out which one is best for you and your family. And then I think the real estate kind of takes care of itself after that, if that makes sense. I mean, something I like to tell my buyers is I can show you the most beautiful home in the world. But if you don't feel safe in the community, if you don't enjoy your neighbors, if you don't enjoy life in that place, well, who cares what the floors look like? You know, does that make sense? So there you go. So if you're looking to make a smooth transition to Northeast Florida, we have actually put this relocation guide together for you. You can see it here on the screen. Feel free to scan the QR code and it'll show you a picture of our team. And then after you register with it, then you'll get our relocation guide automatically emailed to you. If you don't see it, check your spam folder. Sometimes it goes there. And in there is most of the questions people have asked us working together over the past 10 years when relocating their families to Northeast Florida, whether it's from South Florida, whether it's from up and down the East Coast. And, you know, during COVID and afterwards, we started getting people from the West Coast, like California, you know, Washington State, places like that. So these are the things that we have this is a guide that we have put together for you. Obviously, you can always reach out and text as well, call or text, whatever works best for you. Thanks a lot. My name is Andrew Michael. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to meeting you in person. Have a great day.